Quit. It's the four-letter word that every hiker fears. Whether it stems from injury, illness, family emergencies, whatever, the idea of throwing in the towel on a thru hike can be devastating. But unfortunately, it happens every single year. Hundreds of thru hikers will set out on trail, and for any number of reasons, they have to go home. And for those of us at home, we have to wonder, what went wrong? Why go home? So we asked 3 aspiring 2025 thru hikers exactly why they quit their thru hikes this year. Each hiker had their own different powerful reasons, and they were kind enough to share their stories. And before we jump in, if you love backpacking and thru hiking as much as we do, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss another trek video. Alright, let's jump into it. Steve Combs, better known by his trail name Ninja, started the Appalachian Trail this year on March 18th, 2025, northbound from Springer Mountain. He'd prepared extensively for the trail, both physically and mentally. I'd been dreaming of thru hiking the AT all my life and was just waiting for retirement, which finally came on December 31st, 2024. I had done the planning, trained my body, trained my mind, and was ready for this extended adventure. Steve told himself from the very beginning that if his legs and feet held up, that he would finish this trail for sure. But unfortunately, he just wasn't expecting things to start falling apart so soon. Things started off really strong for Steve. He had a great first few hundred miles through the Smokies, North Carolina, Tennessee, all the way into Damascus. And along the way, he had amazing support from his friends and family who were coming out to hike with him on trail, sending him mail drops, all that sorts of stuff. He made a ton of friends over the course of his hike. He even had a little bit of a tramway, which was something that he'd really wanted to experience over the course of his thru hike. But unfortunately, things just took a turn for the worse. Somewhere around mile 200, Steve began noticing some tenderness in his left foot, which was extra concerning because he'd had a prior injury there. He babied it the best he could, which helped up until he left Damascus and started hiking into Mount Rogers and the Grayson Highlands. It rained for a couple of days, and the trail turned into a stream. I had everything covered except my feet. I've hiked hundreds of miles in wet shoes with wet feet and no problems. This time was different. With the constant off-camber trail and the friction it created on the side of my left foot, the tenderness turned into an open sore. Steve pushed through the pain as best as he could for a few more days, but eventually that sore became irritated and painful and infected. So at mile 520, Steve made the hard call to go home, get off trail, and get it treated. But this was just the beginning of an avalanche of other challenges. That foot was indeed infected, and an x-ray revealed that he had osteoarthritis in that same foot. And then, after he returned to trail for another 180-mile section, he had to get off again because he discovered that he had bone on bone in his right knee. So I've decided to let my body recover, reflect on the 700 miles worth of trail lessons, and keep section hiking as soon as I'm able. Even though I'm not thru hiking, I haven't quit the trail. I'll be back just a little at a time. Cheers. Unfortunately for Steve, his AT dreams did not come to fruition this year, but I think the important thing is he's keeping his chin high, and he knows that someday he'll return to the trail and just keep crushing sections as he goes. I honestly think that if you have to get off for injury, that's the best case scenario, is that you're excited to return, you can manage the pain, and you know that one day you'll be back. She had seen all of the beautiful social media posts from other PCT thru hikers, the amazing views, the transformational life experiences, and she wanted that for herself too. So Bettina and her boyfriend set out for the PCT. They got their permits, they headed to trail, and it was great for the first few days, but they quickly realized that something just didn't feel right. Yes, the views were stunning and literally breathtaking as the seemingly endless uphill climbs made it hard to breathe. Yes, we met many kind people, some of them who we became friends with, but we also found it hard to connect with people once they were part of a tramily that we weren't part of. Yes, of course, the nature surrounding us was gorgeous, and animal encounters always put a smile on my face, but I never really felt like I really belonged there. Things started off great for Betina and her boyfriend because everything was shiny and new. They were camping in a tent and they were filtering water, they were hiking all day long, and it was exciting because of the novelty, but soon that novelty began to wear off and motivation began to wane. I got really tired of the uphill climbs. Walking uphill was never my strong suit or my favorite thing, but by the time we were entering the High Sierra, I was really sick of it. I didn't feel one with nature or closer to myself or any of the inspiring things I had heard earlier. I couldn't even give all of those amazing views the appreciation they deserved. It just felt like I was in the wrong place. I didn't want to be on trail anymore, and the thought of going back to trail made me sick to my stomach. So after a few days off, Bettina and her boyfriend headed up into the High Sierra, and things were nice for a few days, but it wasn't a permanent solution. So as they continued to hike, morale eventually just hit the floor, and they made the difficult decision to permanently come off trail. I don't regret a single thing about our failed PCT thru-hike attempt. I'm glad we gave it a go. I know I would have regretted not trying, but I also don't regret a single thing about quitting. Not a single time have I felt the desire to be back on trail. I still admire the Instagram stories and posts of people who are on trail, and I'm happy about their progress on this amazing journey, but not once have I wished to be back there myself. I suspect people will criticize me for not having tried hard enough, for not having connected with my whys deeply enough, for not minimizing my pack weight enough, but that's okay. Only I can truly experience my own feelings, and it didn't feel right to continue just to be able to say, I did it. I think Bettina's story can be a worst case scenario for a lot of folks. The last thing that I would have wanted on my AT thru hike, which I had dreamed about for years and years and years, was that it just wasn't what I was expecting. And that's what happened for Bettina and her boyfriend. It just wasn't what they had hoped for out of the trail. But ultimately, that's okay, because at the end of the day, thru-hiking truly just isn't for everybody. Or the experience isn't right in that moment, or any number of reasons that a thru-hike just isn't the correct call for somebody at that time. So for me, I think Bettina and her boyfriend 100% made the right call, and I would have done the same thing if I was them, because the last thing I want to do is waste my time and feel like I'm not giving the trail the true appreciation that it deserves. Zagel set out on the PCT on her 24th birthday. She had hiked the Appalachian Trail back in 2021, and the AT had been an incredibly transformative experience for her. On the Appalachian Trail, I learned so much about myself. I met a version of myself that I absolutely fell in love with. Stinky, strong, brave, and most importantly, kind and warm-hearted. And somewhere between the end of the AT and the start of the PCT, I lost her. In the world of stress and rent, my thru-hiker self slipped through my fingers, leaving me with a person who I no longer recognized. So I decided to hike again so I can find her. Zagel got on trail, and even though she was well behind the bubble, meaning that most of the northbound hikers were already way ahead of her, she was still having an amazing time, meeting awesome people, seeing beautiful things. She really was enjoying the PCT. The Sierras were the best backpacking I have ever experienced. Engrossed in the most beautiful terrain, surrounded by so many fun and lively people, I wasn't sure if it would ever get much better than this. My heart was so full. But she knew that things were going to change. Eventually, she was going to enter Northern California, there was going to be bigger miles, less people around, and a lot of the folks that she had met while she was on trail were either going to be skipping up to Oregon, or they were going to be skipping sections, or they were just getting off trail entirely. But Zagel had never thought that she would be the one getting off trail. I didn't think for a second that I wouldn't make it, to be honest. I knew I could persevere through any challenge thrown at me. I knew that I could find the beauty in the burn zones or the power in sore legs. So one day, Zagel is sitting on a rock. She's 2 days outside of Yosemite National Park, almost about to finish up the High Sierra section, and she's crying. Even though she is sitting on a rock, eating Nutella off a spoon, she's crying because of the bugs and the heat and the strain. But she looks around and she realizes that she is in one of the most beautiful places that she has ever seen. Crying, heat, bugs, and uphill is all a part of a thru hike. And I began to think about how many times I have been in this exact scenario. Probably a lot more than the average person. And then I began to think about my reasonings on trail and my ability to persevere in this situation. Because every time I have been in this scenario, I've persevered without fail. And I began to think that maybe it is time for me to persevere in a different scenario. It doesn't matter if I continue to hike or not, I have learned the lessons that the trail has provided me this time around. And so Zagel had realized that she had once again discovered that version of herself that she had left behind on the AT. This strong, kind, stinky, brave, warm-hearted individual that she had been seeking this entire time. So Zagel decided to get off trail and pursue new adventures. I believe that I will be back to finish the other half because I think I will have to thru hike every few years just to remind myself that I am sane. But for now, my journey felt completed, and I am so grateful for the experiences that the PCT has provided. The decision came out of fulfillment rather than a lack. I love thru hiking, and I love this community, and I very much feel a part of it despite not finishing my PCT thru hike. I really love this example because it shows that you don't need to complete a thru hike in order to get everything that you need out of it. If before you get on trail, you have a great idea of what your why is, and in this case, Zagel's why was to once again feel like the version of herself that she had felt like on the AT, if you know your why, when you get to trail, as soon as you fulfill that why, I think it's totally up to you to decide whether or not you want to keep going or whether you've gotten everything out of the experience that you set out to get. So at this point, when Zagel headed home, I think she was 100% doing the right thing for her, and I really hope that now that she's home, she's been able to foster and keep that sense of self that she discovered right as she finished the PCT. If you've ever had a hard time on trail, I would love to hear your story, so head down to the comment section and leave me a quick note about a time where you struggled to finish a thru hike, or maybe you even had to quit. And if you liked this video and you want to see more from the trek, don't forget to subscribe or even just give this video a thumbs up. It really does make a difference. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Sassafras, and happy hiking.